Hello everyone, it's me here, and this week we will talk about foot-and-mouth disease. What is foot-and-mouth disease? This is a highly contagious viral disease that affects club and hoofed ruminant animals like cattle, sheep, goats, and pigs. The disease may cause illness with fever and vesicles around the mouth and on the feet, but in worst cases, the disease can be severe and may lead to death. Transmission happens through direct contact with infected animals or indirect contact with contaminated material. Foot-and-mouth disease is caused by a virus called foot-and-mouth disease aphthovirus. There are 7 distinct but related viruses in the genus aphthovirus. These viruses are divided into 3 main serotypes, A, O, and C, and several subtypes. So there are Asia 1, SAT2, and then SAT1 and SAT3. Each serotype can further be subdivided into multiple serotypes, and most of these viruses are antigenically distinct and do not react with any of the other viruses. Before we continue, let's go back in history and find out how the disease was discovered and how it got its name. The cause of FMD was first shown to be viral in 1897 by German veterinary Friedrich Loeffler. He passed the blood of an infected animal through a Chamberlain filter. This type of filter is used to separate bacteria from viruses, and he found that the collected fluid could still cause the disease in healthy animals. This showed that the disease was caused by something smaller than bacteria, meaning that the disease was caused by a virus. Later, scientists would learn that the virus causes blisters, vesicles, or ulcers to form in the mouth and on the feet of infected animals. This is where the disease gets its name, foot-and-mouth disease. Now let's see what happens if you get infected with FMD. Symptoms of FMD typically appear 2 to 6 days after infection. When infected, an animal will usually develop a high fever. The temperature can go up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit or 41.1 degrees Celsius. Ulcers or blisters will also appear in the mouth. They can look like canker sores or small wounds. The blisters then burst and they can make eating and drinking painful. The ulcers and blisters also affect the hooves of the animal. They can split and cause lameness. Some animals may even go blind from the infection. Infected animals often lose weight and become dehydrated because they aren't eating and drinking much. The overall health of the animal declines until recovery begins. The recovery period varies depending on the severity of the symptoms. Most animals recover within 1 to 2 weeks. Some larger animals like cattle and buffalo can take 3 to 4 weeks to recover. But sometimes the disease can be fatal. Between 3 and 6% of infected animals die. Usually younger and old animals are more susceptible to severe forms of the disease. How long does the virus survive outside the body? The virus is very fragile and dies quickly when exposed to air. It cannot survive for more than a few hours at normal temperatures. It can survive longer at low temperatures. If it's refrigerated, it can live for months. The virus is susceptible to common disinfectants like sodium hydroxide, peracetic acid, and formaldehyde. Where does the name FMD come from? Foot-and-mouth disease is caused by a virus that attacks the hooves and the mouth. So it gets its name, foot-and-mouth disease, from the fact that it affects the hooves and the mouth. Where does foot-and-mouth disease occur? FMD occurs throughout much of the world. While some countries have been free of FMD for some time, its wide host range and rapid spread represent cause for international concern. After World War II, the disease was widely distributed throughout the world. In 1996, endemic areas included Asia, Africa, and parts of South America. As of August 2007, Chile is disease-free, and Uruguay and Argentina have not had an outbreak since 2001. In May 2014, the FAO informed that Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru were just one step away from eradication. North America and Australia have been free of FMD for many years. New Zealand has never had a case of foot-and-mouth disease. Most European countries have been recognized as disease-free, and countries belonging to the European Union have stopped FMD vaccination. However, in 2001, a serious outbreak of FMD in Britain resulted in the slaughter of many animals. The postponing of the general election for a month and the cancellation of many sporting events and leisure activities such as the Isle of Man due to strict government policies on sale of livestock, disinfection of all persons leaving and entering farms, and the cancellation of large events likely to be attended by farmers. A potentially economically disastrous epizootic was avoided in Ireland, with just one case recorded in Proleak, County Louth. As one result, the Animal Health Act 2002 was designed by Parliament to provide the regulators with more powers to deal with FMD. In August 2007, FMD was found at 2 farms in Surrey, England. All livestock were culled and a quarantine erected over the area. 2 other suspected outbreaks have occurred since, although these seem now not to be related to FMD. The only reported case in 2010 was a false alarm from GIS Alex Baker as proven false by the Florida Farm and Agricultural Department, and quarantine/slaughter of cattle and pigs was confirmed from Miyazaki Prefecture in Japan in June after 3 cows tested positive. Some 270,000 cattle have been ordered slaughtered following the disease's outbreak. In 2022, the disease was once again seen in cattle in Indonesia. Other countries are worried that it might spread to their countries soon. What animals get foot and mouth disease? A wide variety of animals can get foot and mouth disease. Even though it's called foot and mouth disease, it doesn't only affect cattle. Any cloven-hoofed animal can contract the disease. That includes cattle, buffalo, sheep, goats, antelopes, deer, pigs, and wild boar. Some species that are less susceptible include camels, horses, rabbits, and poultry. Although cattle are less susceptible to infection, they are the most commonly affected. How does the virus spread? The FMD virus spreads in 2 ways, direct and indirect. Direct transmission happens through contact with an infected animal. It can happen through the air when an infected animal breathes or coughs and releases virus particles, or through close contact with an infected animal. It can also happen if a person touches an infected animal and then touches another animal. Indirect transmission happens through contact with contaminated material. This can include contaminated feed, water, clothing, shoes, or vehicles. The virus can survive for a long time on objects. Can humans get foot and mouth disease? Humans can be infected with FMD through contact with infected animals, but this is extremely rare. If a human touches a contaminated surface or object, they can become infected with the virus. Infected people can then pass the virus to animals. Because of this, people who work with animals should wear protective clothing, including gloves and boots. They should also disinfect their hands before and after handling animals. How is foot and mouth disease diagnosed? A vet can diagnose foot and mouth disease by examining an animal and taking its history. This is especially true if the animal lives in a region where FMD is prevalent. A lab test can confirm the diagnosis. The fluid from the blisters or ulcers in the mouth or the lesions on the feet can be tested for the virus. If an animal dies, its whole body can be sent to a lab for testing. Is there a treatment for foot and mouth disease? Unfortunately, no. There is no specific treatment for foot and mouth disease. Treatment is mostly supportive. This means that treatment focuses on relieving the symptoms of the disease. For example, an animal may be given painkillers or antibiotics to prevent secondary infections. Is there a vaccine against foot and mouth disease? Yes, there is a vaccine against foot and mouth disease. The vaccine is made up of inactivated FMD virus. The vaccine protects against the major strains of the virus. Different countries use different types of vaccines. In some countries, the vaccine is given to all cattle. In other countries, only high-risk animals are vaccinated. The vaccine is usually given as a shot in the neck. The vaccine is generally safe, but like any vaccine, it can cause side effects. How can we control the spread of foot and mouth disease? There are 3 ways to control the spread of FMD. They are movement controls, stamping out, and vaccination. Movement controls involve restricting the movement of animals. This helps to prevent the virus from spreading from one farm to another. Stamping out involves slaughtering infected animals and those that have been in contact with them. Vaccination helps to reduce the number of animals that get sick from FMD. It also reduces the number of animals that need to be slaughtered. What should we do if foot and mouth disease enters a country? If foot-and-mouth disease enters a country, it can have a devastating impact on the economy. The disease can spread rapidly and cause large numbers of animals to be slaughtered. This can lead to job losses in the farming and food processing industries. To prevent this, it is important to detect the disease as soon as possible and to take quick action. This involves putting in place movement controls, slaughtering infected animals, and vaccinating animals at risk. If you want to support, please click the thanks button or become a member. You can also support by sharing this video and subscribing. Thank you for watching. Until next time.